Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Angel Storm. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel below. Turn on the little bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the dark triad. This is a common term for what people um, are in are calling or titling behavior from narcissists that include narcissism, Machiavellianism, as well as psychopathology. So you have this triangle that involves all three of these traits. I'm going to go over all three of these traits as well as some red flags to tell if somebody is operating more in this type of narcissism versus the very overt type of narcissism, which is usually very easy to spot. So, to get started, just as a reminder, this person who's operating as a dark triad, so to speak, will have more of the very overt um, characteristics of a narcissist. So this is not going to be somebody who's very grandiose, although when you actually listen to what they are saying, they will be very grandiose in their claims about themselves or about their accomplishments. They just won't be as overt and in your face about it as some overt narcissists will be. So that grandiosity is still going to be present. It's just going to look a little bit different um, than what you might think of when you think of an overt narcissist. But that ego is definitely there. The vanity, the sense of superiority, the sense of being dominant over other people, and entitlement absolutely will all still be there. Machiavellianism is going to be marked by an extreme duplicitous nature that is highly manipulative. This is not just somebody who is trying to manipulate the situation so that they get whatever outcome that they are looking for. This is a person who will actually join the hunt, so to speak, in helping you get the outcome. So, for example, it's not uncommon for somebody who is, let's say, working for someone who's one of these dark triads, um, to complain to them at work about, somebody stealing something from their desk or whatever. And so you go to the boss and you tell this person, this is what's happening and whatever. It's not it. An example of this would be that the boss is actually the one who's stealing the stuff, right? They're acting like they're very concerned. They want to get to the bottom of it, and yet it's actually them who's causing the whole situation. They'll often use that paranoia that is stirred up during these types of situations to then further exasperate their victim and exert control over their victim. So, for example, they will use your fear that you are experiencing in this situation to get more into your life so that way more things can go wrong. So, for example, why don't you try giving me your passwords to your work computer, and let's just see if we can spot somebody who's trying to do A, B, and C. But they're actually the ones doing A, B, and C, and now they have more access to your life in order to start exerting that type of behavior and that type of control where, had you not given the password, that part wouldn't have added into whatever situation you're facing. Again, this is always based off of personal gain, and sometimes it's not as black and white as what you think it might be. So this does not need to be money. It does not need to be an overt status. It could just be the status in the eyes of a certain person or in a certain group or something like that. It could also just be for their own fun. And that's a psychopathology part that enters into it. This is somebody who is not just not feeling anything about the situation. This is somebody who's actually getting pleasure from seeing the type of control, the confusion, the fear that they can cause in another person or in a group of people. So this is definitely done on purpose, and they are looking to have that emotional reaction, that terrifying sense installed into their victims. So this is not This is not something to be playing around with, which I've tried to make very clear throughout my videos. Whenever it comes to dealing with a narcissist, it's actually an extremely dangerous um, situation if you are unaware of what this person is actually capable of, because they're not thinking like you think, which we often view the world through our own lens. So we project that onto other people. We assume other people have the same values, the same morals, the same goals, and want the same type of things that we want in return from us. And this is especially dangerous when it comes to dealing with a narcissist, because that's what leads to giving them chance after chance after chance, and so on and so forth, without seeing any type of improvement. One other thing that I do want to add about the psychopathology part of this is that this person will be willing to take more risks than a normal type of your average covert narcissist. Again, this is somebody who's actually causing the entire chaotic scene, but also joining the hunt to try to find the person who's causing the chaos that another person or people are involved in. So this type of boldness, thinking that they'll never get caught, thinking that they're above the law, thinking that these rules don't apply to them, all of that type of stuff is definitely going to be present because of the part of the triad that is falling under the psychopathology. So this is somebody who's definitely going to be willing to take more risks, use more bold moves in terms of antagonizing their victim than a typical covert narcissist will. So now I just want to kind of give you a few red flags. This is definitely, if you are dating, married to, any kind of thing, somebody with these characteristics, I'm telling you right now, you need to get out of that situation. File for divorce as soon as you can possibly do so in a safe manner. Use whatever resources are available to you to even pursue having a restraining order. Again, this person gets their sense of control, their sense of superiority based off of fear. And so the threats, the actual length that they will go to physically taking actions to impart harm or to install fear, that will not be out of the norm for this person. And so it is important that you get out of that situation as soon as you possibly can. So use whatever resources that you need to use in order to make sure that you not only get away from them, but have a plan in place for the future. This is not somebody that's just going to go away quietly. This is somebody who, hunts for fun, so to speak. This is not just any person will do. They often lock their eyes onto their target, and that must be the supply that they choose. Okay, so just be aware that this is an extremely dangerous situation. I want you to start preparing to get out of that situation. If you are married or living with a narcissist, it's just not to be taken lightly. This is also, if you are an employer and you suspect that you might be having somebody like this in your one of your employees might be one of these dark triads that I'm speaking about, it's also very important for you and the health of your company in order to get this person removed legally from your organization. Okay, so it's not uncommon for these people to start doing very, very well in order to make you think that the success of your company, of your business, falls solely on the shoulders of this person. But also, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So go ahead and take a look into their accomplishments, what they're actually doing for your company, because there's a very good chance that these are inflated in some way, that they have made claims, that they are making promises that actually are not as good as they seem on the outside. So be sure to check into that and take the correct legal measures to remove that person. Make sure everything is in place before you have that person removed from your organization or company structure, because again, this type of person is the one who will lock into who their victim is going to be, and they will not they're not just going to settle, oh, okay, I'll just move on to another company or another business. If they've locked into yours, there's a reason. And so if you do any kind of thing that they can somehow find a way to twist or to use against you, they will. It's just important to have as much support around you when you are trying to unhook yourself from one of these as possible, whether it's, like I said, in business, whether you're married to one, it doesn't really matter who they are in your life. You just need a lot of support, and using all of the support structures that you could possibly use when you are unhooking yourself from one. In addition to the inflated claims, the sense of grandiosity and things like that, and again, the way that they do this doesn't need to be very loud and verbose. It can be done in what I like to call the humble narcissist way, and I have a whole video that talks about the humble narcissist. So this could be somebody who is soft-spoken, someone who is genuinely kind, who seems to listen to others. So just because they aren't saying it in the way that you would expect a narcissist to make these inflated claims or whatever, doesn't mean that they're not still doing that. You can expect for these people to have the upper hand based off of information or knowledge. This is why if you are in a court situation with a narcissist, it's always important that you hire an attorney who will understand narcissism in the courtroom, because they will often know way more. They're going to hire an attorney who's an excellent source, knowledgeable in the law. They're going to hire someone who is not afraid to go in and use all of their resources that they could possibly find to get the outcome that they want. And this sense of not sharing knowledge so that they have the upper hand is going to be common, whether you're working with one, whether you're in court with one, whether you're living with one even. And it'll be done on purpose to make you feel lesser. So, if a letter came in the mail or something like that, and there was an announcement in or whatever, and you didn't get the letter because they purposefully didn't leave the letter out, and then, it's not going to be uncommon for them to say, like, everybody knows that. How could you not know that? Like, gosh, you really do need me to tell you everything. Those kinds of comments add up over time. I know when I'm doing this video, it might be like, oh yeah, who cares if somebody makes a comment like that? But you have to understand that this is the environment somebody might be living in every single day, and it's every little thing like this is being twisted and used against them. You'll definitely see the minimizing of other people's influence. So again, whatever this person is to you, you're living with one, you're working with one, it doesn't matter. They're going to minimize other people's influence over the group, over the boss, over you. That sense of isolation will happen much quicker as well. They want to be seen as the source for all information, for all finances, for, the go-to person for any special request that the boss may have. All of those types of things are meant to further isolate the target or the intended target, so that they must depend upon this dark triad character. You should also expect, an abnormally aggressive behavior when they are given criticism. Abnormally aggressive. This isn't just somebody who doesn't like to take criticism, doesn't like negative feedback, doesn't want to hear that they did anything wrong or whatever. This is somebody who will actually attack the person who's giving them that feedback. Oh yeah? Well, at least I didn't do blah, 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 blah. They will have a memory about the things that you have done that have not added up, that have not been to whatever standard or whatever the case may be. Now, this doesn't always have to happen in the moment. Remember, these people are extremely calculated, and that's part of the Machiavellianism character trait involved with this dark triad type of a narcissist. This is somebody who's willing to wait for the opportune moment to exact the most amount of pain, inflict the most amount of damage upon their victim, upon their opponent now, somebody who they are now viewing as directly against them, directly a threat to them. They will wait for that moment to inflict the right amount of damage. And so from the time that you try to give that negative feedback, that criticism, whatever it is that you're doing, until the time that the narcissist decides to exact that revenge upon the victim, they're going to be hyper aware. They are going to be watching every single thing that you do. They're going to be keeping notes on what you are doing so that they have more and more and more data or more ammunition to then put upon their victim at the opportune moment. This is also somebody who's going to view any type of cooperating event, whether that's, we're married, let's do our taxes together, or we're working on a group project or something like that for work. This is always an opportunity to compete. This is always going to be an opportunity for them to come up on top, for them to display their skills, for them to come out as the head on the project, the lead on the project, the one who has to get everything done. This is always going to be an opportunity to compete rather than to cooperate. And again, their short-term goals are always going to be centered around themselves. So how do I say this? This is somebody who does not care about what the consequences for other people are. And it will often seem like a good decision. This is somebody who sees an opportunity. For example, let's say they have their eye on a victim. They see an opportunity to spend some extra time with them or to get closer to that victim in some way, and at the expense of not picking up their kids. But it will seem as like, oh, this person really needed help and I had to go there and I had to help them. And I was just late by 10, 15 minutes. The kids were fine, whatever. And on the surface, it sounds like, okay, great. That sounds like a good thing that you were able to help out and be there for so-and-so for such and such a project. Except that what they're actually doing is making an impulsive decision that will benefit themselves because they were the ones who are now able to spend time one-on-one with their victim to learn more about them so that the next time they have more ammunition to get deeper and deeper inside of that victim's life, right? Even at the expense of their kids. So you really have to pay attention a lot of times to these to this type of behavior. Now, some of these have even more sinister behavior, which makes the somewhat sinister behavior look normal. And this is what goes on, because I really tried to stress that on my channel. The level of abuse that you are experiencing today is going to be the least amount of abuse that you will ever experience in that relationship with a narcissist, regardless of they're a little bit of a narcissist, they're a huge narcissist, they're a full-blown psychopath. It does not matter where on the scale they fall. The fact of the matter is that they need a supply, and the amount of supply that they are getting today will never be the same amount that they need tomorrow, the next day, in 1 year, in 10 years down the road. And so that is why it's so important that you pay attention, because your goalposts are going to move right along with the level of supply that the narcissist needs. Before, it would have never been okay for somebody to call you a name, but now we're calling names all of the time. Who cares? At least he's not physically hitting you, or maybe he is physically hitting you, but only on certain occasions or days, or not that often. You see how the goalposts will move along with the narcissist level of supply. And it's very important that you are paying attention to this, because if you don't, you'll never even notice that these shifts have even happened, that gradually your standards have gotten lower and lower and lower to kind of go along with whatever the narcissist needs in order to just kind of make it work, to make them happy, so that hopefully this whole thing will end. The thing will not end unless you make a decision and do something different in order to break this cycle, in order to exit yourself out of this cycle. So that pretty much sums up what I want to talk about. I mean, you could do videos and endless amounts of videos on this topic specifically, but I do want to bring this up because I've had a lot more people recently messaging me, DMing me, asking me about this type of behavior, and I think it's really important, again, that you know what you are dealing with, because this is not something that's just going to get better. This is not something that you can just kind of appease in some way and then these behaviors go away. This is who this person is. You need to find a way to safely exit this relationship and do so as quickly as possible. And that is ultimately the goal of me doing this video, is that you might have a light bulb moment. You might say, this is my situation, and that you would start planning and using the resources that you have at your disposal instead of using those to kind of appease the narcissist and make things fine with them and make it, just kind of relax a little bit. That you would actually start planning how to live the life that you want to live, that you don't need to appease anybody for, that you're safely able to express whoever you are to the people who are in your life, in every sect of your life, in every sector of your life, and that you are able to truly enjoy yourself and who you are. So you guys, I hope this video has helped you. Again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, turn on the little bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel, and I will see you next week.